Good morning. I am Brian Pierce, Vice President with Cape Fear Valley Health System and Chairman for the Board of Directors of the Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us this morning and welcome to the virtual State of Community Forum. We are very appreciative of our community leaders joining us today for this forum and updating us on community affairs. As we begin, I want to thank the Greater Fayetteville Chamber's partners who helped make this forum possible today, starting with our pivotal partners, Caldwell Banker Advantage and Cape Fear Valley Health Center, along with our gold sponsors, Campbell University, the Fayetteville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and H&H Homes, and our silver sponsor, Piedmont Natural Gas. We would also like to thank our media partners, Array Publishing and Marketing, Beasley Media Group, Cumulus Broadcasting, the Greater Fayetteville Business Journal, the Fayetteville Observer, the Fayetteville Press, and Up and Company Weekly, with a special thanks to the City of Fayetteville for helping us with today's broadcast. Would you please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, undivided, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please be seated. Since 1899, the Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce has been active in advocating and promoting local businesses, but during the past year, the mission, building a prosperous and resilient community through business leadership, has never been more important to businesses and our community as a whole. As we journey through these unprecedented times of economic uncertainty and a global public health crisis, the Greater Fayetteville Chamber has utilized innovative solutions to continue to be the strongest advocate for the business community. During this holiday time, when we pause to reflect on the things that we personally and as a community should be thankful for, I am thankful that I live and work in a community that embraced these difficulties over the past year with the can-do Carolina attitude. Whether it was hospitals caring for those within our community who are sick, or working with community providers and pharmacies to distribute vaccine and provide immunizations, leaders in public health or leaders in our government implementing policies that help protect us, or businesses leading with innovations in our community to help keep our community strong and provide a strong backbone based on the 4 pillars that we see in our community: finding a way, caring for one another, protecting the world, and always going further. It is those pillars that have allowed the Greater Fayetteville Chamber and our business community to face the challenges over the past year, and I look forward to hearing from our community leaders to find out more details about what our community has done over the past year and the exciting plans we have for the future. Now we begin our forum today with our first speaker, Chairman of the Cumberland County Commissioners, Charles Evans. Chairman Evans was not able to be with us this morning in person, but provided a taped message with his remarks. And Vice Chairman Glenn Adams has joined us this morning to answer questions at a later time.
Hello, everyone. It has been an honor to serve as the chairman of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners this year. And I want to thank my fellow commissioners for their service to our citizenry. Commissioners, Glenn Adams, our vice chairman, Michael Booth, Dr. Jeanette Council, Jimmy Keefe, Larry Lancaster, and Dr. Tony Stewart. About this time last December, Cumberland County unveiled a new branding platform with the tagline, "Together we can." I see that line, "Together we can," as a guiding principle for county government and our community. Our board has worked together as one body, made up of Democrats and Republicans, to accomplish things that need to happen. For example, the county plans to construct a homeless shelter, commissioners allocated $250,000 in American Rescue Plan funding for site selection and design services, and the state budget included $1 million for the project. The Cumberland County Commissioners wish to thank the state legislative delegations for securing approximately $400 million in funding for projects and organizations in Cumberland County. I am so proud of how our county has responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. Our employees at the Public Health Department and Emergency Management operated a mass vaccination site at the Crown Complex from January to June. The Health Department continues to offer testing sites and vaccination clinics throughout the county, including our library locations and recreation centers. Since December, the Health Department has given more than 54,000 vaccinations. Under the direction of Health Director Dr. Jennifer Green, the department has coordinated with our county departments, community agencies, and the state to promote vaccinations and keep the community informed. For pandemic recovery efforts, community development partnered with the City of Fayetteville's Economic and Community Development Department in jointly implementing the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. More than $9.7 million had been distributed before Thanksgiving to assist residents with rental and utility payments. Cumberland County has been allocated $65 million in federal funding under the American Rescue Plan for local fiscal recovery. The Board of Commissioners established a 3-member American Rescue Plan Committee based on the ARP Committee's recommendations. The Board of Commissioners made some initial allocations for funding, and the county's attorney's office is reviewing the Uniform Federal Guidance and North Carolina state statutes to ensure compliance. District Attorney Billy West, Mayor Mitch, Colvin, and I announced the Cumberland County expungement clinics will be returning in the spring. Information sessions are scheduled for December 11th and December 21. I want to update you on several capital projects. Construction kicked off in February for the renovation of the building at 500 Executive Place that will be our new emergency services and 911 call center. Construction is also underway for the Fayetteville Technical Community College, Cumberland County Fire and Rescue Training Center. The state budget included $20 million. Commissioners are moving forward with plans to build a multi-purpose event facility to replace the Crown Theater and Arena after receiving the market analysis and feasibility study. And the county has started a space utilization and site analysis study for a general government services building. Getting water to Grays Creek and other areas of the county remains a priority. I repeat, getting public water to Grays Creek and other areas of the county remains a priority. The county is working to partner with the Fayetteville Public Works Commission to have the utility serve as the water supplier in Grays Creek, and work continues on identifying funding sources for the cost of extending water lines to address Gen X contamination. In June, the Board of Commissioners engaged outside legal counsel to assist. We had several economic development announcements this year. Metronet, Amazon, and Cargill were among the companies making investments in our community, and our own business park on Cedar Creek Road is now completely in private hands after commercial developer Skyrim purchased the remaining property. Here are a few of the highlights. the county launched Cumberland County NCTV, our own county government channel, and the county's redesigned website went live in June. We launched EnterGov, a new online service for permitting, planning, and inspections. Commissioners voted to do away with pet privilege license and to end late fees and fines for lost or damaged materials at our libraries to increase access to services. The Department of Public Health has partnered with Fort Bragg to establish the first civilian military food policy council to address food insecurity in our community. In 2020, the Board of Commissioners approved a resolution against racial injustice and created a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee of employees from a cross-section of county departments. During our December 9th agenda session, the board will receive a consultant's report and strategic plan for promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. I am looking forward to that report and learning more about the recommendations. This has been bittersweet for me. I have been honored to serve as a commissioner and chairman of the Board of Commissioners. And I want to thank our great county manager, Amy Cannon, for her fantastic leadership, and all county employees who have worked very hard to make our county stand out as one of the greatest counties in North Carolina. I honestly want to say thank you for your hard work and dedication in serving the citizens of this county.
Thank you, Chairman Evans. Our next speaker will be the mayor of the city of Fayetteville, Mayor Mitch Colvin.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the Greater Fayetteville Chamber for coordination of this event as we give an update on the wonderful things that are taking place in our community. It's hard to believe that we are here at the end of 2021, a year of the pandemic, but most of all of the recovery, and a year of great accomplishments in spite of the challenges that Mother Nature has rendered to all of us. Certainly our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all in our community who have been affected by this great pandemic, and we would like to continue to encourage all of you to continue getting vaccinated and to encourage others and your loved ones to get vaccinated. We are not out of the woods yet. I would like to thank the wonderful staff at the City of Fayetteville, our city manager, as well as the members of Fayetteville City Council. And I would like to share with you today a few of our monumental accomplishments in this year. I would start out by saying jobs, jobs, jobs. This year we welcomed Amazon to our community. Earlier in the East Fayetteville area, we're excited about the Project Bronco, which will bring an additional 500 jobs and $100 million of investment to be added to our tax base. And in the last 2 years, we've increased that tax base by over 30%. In fact, over the last 4 years, we've seen an addition of almost 2,500 jobs and $250 million in investment added to the city's tax roll. The downtown business district has added nearly 13% increase in values and investment. We have made historic strides in investing in our infrastructure, our streets, sidewalks, and stormwater. We had an average street paving of 47 years that is now down to 16 years on average. Over $50 million overhaul to our airport to make it a destination of the region. And promise kept, we agreed and said that any employee that works for the great city of Fayetteville should be able to afford and live in the city that they work. We're proud to announce that we've raised wages to everyone in the city to at least $15 an hour, and that's a tremendous stride. In addition to that, we've added bonuses to our bus drivers and transit drivers and our police officers. We have up to a $10,000 signing bonus for new police officers in the city. We continue to expand opportunities in our local economy for local and minority businesses and contractors who would like to do business with the city. This year, I'm proud to say that we funded a disparity study, and the results of that will be back, and we can look forward to that in the year of 2022 for the first time ever. We've invested over $12 million in our seniors in this community with the construction of Senior West, which will be completed in the second quarter of 2022, as well as Senior East, which will start the planning and design work here in the coming months. We've built and added a new Lake Rim Aquatic Center and 2 additional splash pads in western Fayetteville, and we've worked hard with our utility, PwC, to accelerate and continue to complete the promises made by Phase 5, which have lingered for years and years. The largest investment in the city's history in homelessness, we're proud to announce, $5 million homeless day center and $1 million additional investment from this year's state budget. So thank you to our delegation. We've also have seen the completion of a completely new reformed Cross Creek Point, which sits on one of our major corridors. $33 million new investment through our housing authority to bring sense of pride to the community, even for public and government housing. And so we've also looked forward to adding and creating the first ever housing trust fund to where the city of Fayetteville will partner with local and private developers to continue to add to our affordable and workforce housing options here in the city. And the largest allocations have been made this year to African American sites throughout the city. $2 million to the Martin Luther King Park. $1.1 million will be allocated or has been agreed upon to the Orange Street School and other historic sites like the E. Smith House throughout our city to make sure that we're teaching and investing in the advancement of education of all sectors of our community. And we have made bold strides to create a cleaner, better recyclable environment with the implementation of the new recycle cans. You know, those larger cans have increased our recycling participation twofold, and it will save the citizens of this community over $800,000 a year in the coming years. We have worked hard to collaborate and to build partnerships with our other agencies and institutions. Methodist College, we work with Methodist to collaborate a $1.5 million upgrade to the Jordan Soccer Complex. With expanded hours and new lighting, this will surely be a destination. Colonel Pence, you and your team at Fort Bragg have been wonderful partners. We're working with you and Fort Bragg to establish a sports complex located here in the city to be shared with military members and their families. Also, the state, we would like to thank them for the work and the collaborative effort through the Lake Rim Park, to where we are now expanding that park to include the Bill Chris Senior Center as well as the Aquatic Center and others. But thank you to our state. And also, of course, our partners at the county who mentioned earlier, Commissioner Evans, Chairman Evans mentioned, the collaboration with our utility to help with the water needs of our community throughout the county. We have also made significant investments in our transit. If you've been able to go throughout our city, you've seen the beautiful new red, white, and blue buses that have traversed throughout the city. Transit is more of an option and not a need only, and we've shown the investment that makes that possible. We'll continue to connect our trails and greenways in the coming months that we'll be releasing designs as the Cape Fear River Trail has added a new addition, just to make it where you can enjoy the amenities here in the great city of Fayetteville. And finally, our RAMP program, we have made tremendous progress in our RAMP program and have put out nearly $11 million to help with rental assistance. But thank you so much. Those are just some of the great things that are taking place here in the city of Fayetteville. We've made it through 2021, and we look forward to a great year to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. Now we'd like to invite the Garrison Commander of Fort Bragg, Colonel Scott Pence.
Good morning. Thank you to Mrs. Five Ash and the Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce for having me today. Thank you for having me as a chance to review some of the latest of things going on at Fort Bragg. I would like to go over briefly the Army installation strategy and then review some of the new developments that are going on here at our installation. And first of all, I'd like to thank all of the Cumberland County and Greater Fayetteville elected representatives for all of their work with the 2021 North Carolina state budget, which exempts military retiree pensions from the state tax. North Carolina now joins 32 other states in tax exemptions and makes the state a very welcome place for our military professionals to retire. On behalf of all of us, thank you for your advocacy and your support. This decision will result in many more military retirees settling in the state and contributing to the community and to the economy for years to come. Fort Bragg remains the nation's premier power projection platform. In 2021, forces deployed to Afghanistan to restore order from chaos and safely evacuate over 60,000 non-combatants from the country. Many of these evacuees were our partners and their families. Others were U.S. citizens. We are proud to be a part of that process that lent support and sustainment to an otherwise dangerous mission. Also in 2021, the National Defense Authorization Act mandated that 9 installations named after Confederate generals begin a process of renaming. We are proud and appreciative of the community involvement in this effort. But from Greater Fayetteville, from Cumberland County, and beyond, over 16,000 people took our Fort Bragg survey online on the Garrison Commander's Facebook page. We have embraced the opportunity to restart community partnerships which have atrophied over the years, and especially amidst the pandemic. As we emerge from the pandemic, soldiers on Fort Bragg are getting back to business. For 20 years, from the first Green Berets into Afghanistan and Iraq to the last 82nd Airborne soldiers leaving Kabul just in the last few months, Fort Bragg has rotated a significant portion of its forces to Iraq and Afghanistan. Now we enter a new phase of readiness, one in which units live and train at home and deploy when the nation needs them. When the nation calls 911, it's Fort Bragg who answers. That type of 911 call could be anything, and we must prepare for the worst. Large-scale combat operations against a near-peer enemy would make the strategic support areas clear targets. These are our critical installations that project power worldwide. Fort Bragg, being the nation's premier power projection platform, is a conspicuous one, and you can bet that we'll be a target. So we are becoming a hard target, constantly enhancing our resiliency and protection from fuels to electric to cyber. According to the new Army installation strategy, the fence line is now the front line. Our deployment platforms provide strategic deterrence, and if an adversary can dilute that deterrence, our ability to influence world events is diluted. So we look at our installations now through the lens of these threats. The latest RAND tabletop exercise on Fort Bragg simulated a series of non-standard attacks, and we identified shortfalls that the Army is very interested in correcting this year. We're looking for industry solutions that can provide resilience to operations. As many of you may know, we've been doing outload operations the same way we have been doing for about 60 years. Now we're looking at innovative robotics and data-informed artificial intelligence to expedite our deployments. There are 4 lines of effort that the Army is embracing our installations with. Number 1, the most important one, is to take care of our people. Adapt quality, functional facilities to train soldiers to be their very best. We tie into the Army People Strategy, which is a priority of the Secretary of Defense and the Chief of Staff of the Army, to ensure that the Army attracts, retains, and enables the people. Smith Lake is open again for the first time since Hurricane Matthew in 2016, and thousands of people enjoyed the lake for the first time this last summer. Number 2 is to strengthen readiness and resilience. We are operationalizing installations, adapting resilient systems, and protecting combat power. And number 3 is to modernize and innovate. The Army wants to encourage community services that can be done better, enhance private businesses, and do it at lower expense than otherwise. The North Carolina Department of Transportation, IGSA, Intergovernmental Services Agreement, is a key example of that. 6 years in the making, it's been a big victory for infrastructure improvements on Fort Bragg, and we'll see our first roads being repaved this month. Promoting stewardship, preserving natural resources, and remediating contamination. Our end state is a healthy, sustainable working and training environment for our soldiers, families, and retirees who depend on Fort Bragg. And it's a great time to be on Fort Bragg. In 2022, we'll see the first floating solar panels provide power backup for our McCall Airfield and surrounding area. This will be the largest floating solar panel in the entire Southeast. And after our first year, Smith Lake reopens again on Memorial Weekend 2022 to new and improved activities. We'll restore community events like our 4th of July celebration, and we'll continue to support our over 270,000 veterans who live and work in our surrounding area. On Fort Bragg, we have redesigned the old Bragg Boulevard into a new family and functional fitness park called Liberty Park. It opens on 19 January and becomes the crown jewel in a necklace that borders the Fort Bragg installation. It's called Liberty Trail, a 14-mile loop around Fort Bragg. The park and trail are named Liberty because that's the name that brings the installation together. The Special Forces have the Latin form of liberty in their motto, De Oppresso Liber, and the 82nd Airborne has liberty in the first verse of the All-American song. We're all American and proud to be, for we are the soldiers of liberty. But most of all, the famed Liberty Trail is named after the string of liberated towns that the U.S. Army carved in France in 1944 and 45 as they moved from Omaha Beach to Bastogne. This new walking, jogging fitness trail will enhance the quality of life of our soldiers, families, and guests, and it will be the route for the new Fort Bragg Half Marathon this coming March. As the biggest installation by population in the world, Fort Bragg can seem huge. But as you know, 85% of Fort Bragg's soldiers and families live in our surrounding communities. We are fortunate to be surrounded by military retirees and veterans, and ecstatic to see this new state of North Carolina tax exemption to attract even more people to reside in the community. Also, there are countless veterans and military supporters in this community. Your support is truly a combat multiplier. This community is the most supportive military community in the nation, and we are proud of what we do and the higher purpose we serve, and we are fortunate to be here in the greater Fayetteville area. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Pence. Our next presenter will be Hope Mills Mayor Jackie Warner.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate the fact that I have this opportunity, and especially on this time of year. For Hope Mills, it's our 130th anniversary. We were, in 1891, we were started, and it was a very small mill town. We had 5 mills, and you can just imagine what Christmas was like with the mill villages. And we had, of course, everything centered around home and family. And that's pretty much where we are today. I think it would be only appropriate for me to let you know that, yes, during this time, we have lost some citizens in Hope Mills, some very active citizens due to COVID or for age or for whatever reason. So it is a time for us to also recognize the fact that we've been through a lot. We've also had our town manager retire, so we've had to hire a new town manager, Scott Mazzaros, and we did a nationwide search, and he came to us from Alaska. So just know when you have a new blood coming in that has never been in Hope Mills, he actually was born and lived most of his time out in Colorado, it's been a life-changing experience for him. We also had our police chief, who I actually swore police Cherdo in when I became mayor, but he had been on our force for over 25 years. He retired this year. So our new town manager not only had to come in and adjust to, and he's been here only 6 months, but adjust to a new environment because it's a lot warmer here than it was in Alaska. But he also had to now hire a police chief, and you know, with being involved with police for all of our community, that again, this was a search that for Hope Mills, we can't compete with a lot of the other towns as far as salaries go. So we will hire, and we will have announced on December 6th, our new police chief. I can't go without saying that this year has been important to Hope Mills because of the partnerships that we have forged. We have worked with our Cumberland County commissioners. We have worked with the chamber. We have worked with Fort Bragg. We have also partnered with anyone else in our community that we feel like should help us. I've been to Methodist University. I've been to Fayetteville State. I've been to Fayetteville Tech, which we have some great things happening there with some of the community partnerships that we're doing with Cumberland County Schools, and also Southview High School, a new program that will be launched, and it was already advertisements are out there. But you can actually, if you're in that age bracket of already graduated from high school but you don't have a career, and we do have a population in Hope Mills that are floundering because of the COVID predicament, you can go to school in the afternoons, evenings, and you can learn a trade. You'll come away from Southview High School with something in the trades that we've identified most needed in Hope Mills, and that would be carpentry, masonry, plumbing, electrical, because we've got so much construction going on. So that program, as it kicks off, hopefully will be an opportunity for people to understand that the vocational trades are trades that can benefit not only us, but can benefit the fact that that's something that's sorely needed in Cumberland County, which would also bring me to the fact that not only are we fastest growing community in Cumberland County, but economically right now things are happening in a fast pace. Liberty Point, which is out on exit 41, got a brand new building out there, several other buildings in the works. Dirtbag Ales is now a spot for people to go and visit and stop, and it's you go out there and you're going to find that they've had to borrow parking from other areas because it's so well used. But the idea is that Hope Mills has become now a center for not only economic development, but for more people to want to move to us. So we have to strategically plan, which is what we've been doing. We also have to understand that we do not want to lose focus on what we are all about, and that is a small town community, a lot of pride, and a lot of family type activities, which is why today, dressed in Christmas, so excited. This year we're going to have our Festival of Lights at the Lake. Santa's going to be coming in on a boat. It's 5:30 Friday evening till 8. We have our Episcopal Church, which is now the Thomas Oakman Chapel, historical site. And in that tour, you'll be able to go in and see what this church looked like that was established way back when. And what happened was this was also an integral part of our community. And church is, again, another important part of Hope Mills. And you'll be surprised how many churches we have that are as old as our town. We also have Breakfast with Santa on Saturday morning, another important thing. We have to sell tickets because it sells out, and we have to make reservations. Our parade this year is at 4 o'clock. We're going to do a different version of it, but 70-degree weather, what can you say? We're going to be in great shape for Christmas too. Those types of events are important to our community, and we will strive to keep those in our community. We're very fortunate that we have had Christmas arrive in Hope Mills thanks to our delegation in Raleigh, and I cannot tell you the importance of our delegation working together, and how proud I am, just like Commissioner Evans said, how proud I am that we in Cumberland County have gone across party lines and we have worked together for the betterment of the whole town, the whole community. What we have seen in years past is we were working in isolation, and what I saw in Hope Mills back in 2011 when I was first elected mayor, that we were a standalone. We did a lot of things on our own, and we did things based on what our needs were. Now we meet, we talk. We have committees that cross those county lines or cross city lines, town lines. Our mayor's coalition, very active. And what we're seeing is just like what happened when Representative Zoka called me and asked me, what do you want for Christmas? And the vision for Hope Mills was very small. What we wanted for Christmas when we met with our delegation was so simple. And he said, he called me and he said, Mayor Warner, he said, look, I know you want more than that. What do you want for Christmas? So Christmas came to us a couple of weeks ago, and that Christmas for Hope Mill, we have a strategic plan, we have a capital improvement plan. But what has happened in Hope Mills is our capital improvement plan is just about complete because of what our delegation did. And that's all the delegation. So I compliment them. It's also important that some of the other things that we want, we see that they're possibly going to happen because of the work that we do with our county commissioners. I can't speak well enough right now to tell you how important and how excited it is for me to know that we're looking at all this money that's coming to Cumberland County. How can it benefit all of Cumberland County? And all this economic development that's coming to Hope Mills, it's also coming all across our town, all across our county, because what we're looking at is how do we work together to make something good for all of Cumberland County. And Hope Mills is, like I said, we're very proud of Hope Mills. We've got a public safety building going up, $17 million. Our budget is balanced. No tax increase this year. Our commercial development is balancing out our property tax rate. Things are happening in Hope Mills, but they're happening because not only have we strategically planned, but we're looking at how we can benefit from those partnerships across the board, not just to include locally, but across the community statewide, because what we're seeing is there's resources out there that we can take advantage of. I would also like to mention that we prioritize things in Hope Mills. I know roads, traffic are one of the main things, and our community wants to probably hear me say something about that. And we do have a prioritization list, and we do have, because of the funding from the state, $650,000 to correct the street problem that's in Woodland Hills housing development. We got also $2.5 million to work on the Patterson Street wall that was flooded out, and FEMA didn't give us enough money to repair it. So that street's not going to fall in the creek. We're going to be able to fix it. We also got $500,000 to clear the creek bed from the dam up to Legion Road, which the whole routing of the water was changed through the 2 different floods that we had. And I'm proud to say that we've also have partnerships with DOT, and with that we're going to have, we're working on a sidewalk plan, but we've also received a couple, almost $1 million worth of grants that we'll be using to make sure that we can make Main Street safer, also make it so that we can have bike access, pedestrian access, and make it so that you can go to the lake without having to worry about how you get across the street there. Lots of things. Heritage Park, we got a grant from Partif, and Heritage Park groundbreaking's coming. The plans are there. We're going to submit bids for it. And again, that's part of our area that we're trying to restore, so that you'll know all about Hope Mills. And again, we have a new, we have a slate of commissioners right now that have worked very hard. Mayor Pro Tem McCray, Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Marley, Commissioner Legg, Commissioner Bellflowers. They've worked very diligently. We've worked together as a team, and we've also shared our responsibility. What's getting ready to happen, of course, on December the 6th is we do have 2 new members coming on board. Commissioner Edwards, who had celebrated her 85th birthday, decided not to run for re-election. We're going to lose a lot of wisdom there, but just know that we have in her place who will be Commissioner-elect Greeley Mitchell, who many people know because he's over the Veterans Council in Cumberland County. And, of course, Joanne Scarola is the 2nd member, and she is a retiree also from the military population. Great things are happening in Hope Mills. Proud to be Hope Mills mayor, and proud that we could be here today to share with just a little bit of insight on what's happening in our hometown.
Thank you, Mayor Warner. We will now hear from the mayor of Spring Lake, Larry Dobbins.
Good afternoon. I have a lot of pages here that I thought I would refer to, but I think I'll take a different strategy today. I don't want to talk too much about what was or what we wish had been. It's a little late in the game for that now. As you all know by us being on the news repeatedly about our financial state, well, I think you have concluded that it is not in the best shape. So I want us to be able to focus on the state of our community from the future. And I'm going to try about 5 R's as I look at the future of Spring Lake. Now, you know that I chose not to seek re-election, but I am also proud to say that Mayor-elect Kia Anthony is with us, and we thank you for being here. The first R, restructure. The second R, rebuild. The third, rebrand. The fourth, regain the trust of our citizens. And the fifth, rebirth. I don't think there's much that I can do about that going forth except help and offer my help and remain involved as a resident of the town of Spring Lake. But we must also realize that my next R is resilience, because in 2016 and 2018, part of Spring Lake was underwater up to our necks, and we survived that. And I'm thankful that not a whole lot of lives were lost because of a natural disaster. And then we have been faced with a health disaster, and a lot of things happened during that time. And we're fortunate that not many lives were lost due to the COVID pandemic. But I'm here, and I'm going to take this time to just express the hope that our town has. Now, we are landlocked on 3 sides by Fort Bragg, and on the other side by Harnett County. And we are not able to extend our city limits into another county at this time. But we are going to come out of the situation that we're in, because, as you know, the LGC is on board with us and we're on board with them, so that going forth and in the future, we can be bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And I am not ashamed to say that we trusted, but sometimes we didn't verify. And because of that, we have fallen into a difficult situation. But a couple of things I also would like to add is that we have at least 2 major developments coming which will provide housing for our residents and for those who desire to move and relocate into Spring Lake. And there's a beautiful thing about all of this as well. On the northwest end of Spring Lake, we have 100 acres of land that is fit and prime for redevelopment. Anything from housing to industry to defense. And I would just love for us at this time, because we're looking at the state of the community, to say, come to Spring Lake, invest in Spring Lake, and those 200,000 cars that pass through our town every day, somebody's going to stop and take advantage of that beautiful spot of real estate in the wonderful town of Spring Lake. So pray for us, work with us, and again, thank you, Ms. Anthony. And it might be safe to say I have given you a charge, and I can't give you a charge unless I stand with you and behind you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dobbins. As I mentioned earlier about the success of the Greater Fayetteville Chamber in the business community earlier, I would be remiss if I didn't mention 2 ladies who, due to their leadership in the chamber, have largely put us in the position that we're in now. Sherry Fiveash, who is the president and CEO of the Greater Fayetteville Chamber, has taken over during the past year and led us through this transition and set us a new direction. But the lady who brought her here as the chairwoman of the search committee and the vice chair of the Greater Chamber Board of Directors is Tammy Thurman. Now, many people know how hard Tammy works as an advocate for our community, but I personally have gotten to witness how hard Tammy works while she attempted to keep me going straight in partnership over the past year as we tried to lead the chamber. Thanks, Tammy, for everything you do for our community during the past year and throughout your lifetime, and thank you personally for helping to try to lead me in the right direction and keep us straight. I'd like to invite Tammy Thurman, the Vice Chair of the Greater Chamber of Fayetteville of Commerce and of Piedmont Natural Gas, to say a few remarks.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, all. For all the years that I've been alive, joining the local Chamber of Commerce was one of the premier ways of building a business's reputation, networking, funds, and contacts. In today's world, LinkedIn and other forms of social media are fulfilling many of those needs. However, local communities, corporations, and small business owners need the support and representation that the can-do Greater Fayetteville Chamber provides more than ever. The Greater Fayetteville Chamber will provide all business leaders an integral way of building face-to-face and virtual contacts needed to keep their operations running. Going forward, the Greater Fayetteville Chamber has assembled an amazing team of board members who are dedicated to the growth of this county's business community. We will be fulfilling roles far beyond the ribbon cuttings and brochures that typically occur. We will be listing job opportunities on our website to benefit the residents and those seeking to relocate in this area. We are partnering with the Convention and Visitors Bureau for the traveling public. We're also partnering with Cool Springs District. We have assembled an even stronger government relations committee who will build relationships with federal, state, and local government officials. This will ensure businesses are supported and made aware of grant opportunities, policy implementation, and advocacy. Partnerships with local governments and schools ensure that economic development is front and center in our region's planning. Our Military Affairs Council will continue to provide recognition to our active duty personnel, reserve personnel, veterans, their respective spouses, and families, and encourage businesses to hire veterans. This can-do Greater Fayetteville Chamber will respond to the needs of our members, and that shapes our very existence. Reinvention is always on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. As we now enter our question and answer session, we had received several questions, and the majority of them really apply to all of the entities that are here. We'll start with Commissioner Adams. I'll go ahead and let him come this way representing Cumberland County. A lot of the speeches here today talked about collaboration, and one of the questions came in was about governments working together. Well, I think we've had plenty of examples of how the governments and how our local and state representatives have worked together. So I would just like each of the speakers to give us an example that you thought was important of our community working together to accomplish a better goal.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon. I'm Glenn Adams, Vice Chair of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, and Chairman Evans could not be here today and asked me to be here. But you know, and I think each one of them will tell you there are so many, it's hard to choose which one. I think that we've done some things with Fort Bragg, but I think one of the greatest things is with the city of Fayetteville, and I think Mayor Colvin will tell you, was the RAP, the Rental Assistance Program. It came down that the county got funds and the city got funds. And one thing I would tell everybody is that necessarily government can't do everything. We are tasked to do certain things, and I think we came together, understood that to maximize these funds, that we could do with one entity to be able to do that for the betterment of this community. And I think that probably during this pandemic has been the largest one that goes on. But I would tell you that each one of these mayors will be able to tell you some things that each one of us did together. But you asked for one, so that's the one big thing, I think.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Mayor Colvin? And as he comes up, thank you to each of them again from the community and from the chamber for all of your collaboration in accomplishing all the things that y'all have this past year.
So thank you so much. Was the question specific to the city and county or just collaboration in general?
Collaboration in general.
Collaboration in general is so critical to the success of the community because you're actually taking the resources of the public and putting them together to leverage their strengths. And as Commissioner Adams alluded to, there may be some false assumption that the city and county are on different pages. We understand what our individual boards' roles are, and we play those roles very well. But in times of emergencies, we come together with joint operations, and we provide a great service to the benefit of this community in a number of ways. He's mentioned that today. When our hurricanes hit us within 18 months, 2 500-year storms, joint operations, joint responses were implemented by the city and county. When the pandemic introduced itself to our community, joint operations between the health system and the city worked very well. As I mentioned in my remarks, we have collaborative efforts with Fort Bragg, of course, with the private sector, with members of the state, as well as our universities and our college system. So collaboration works and it benefits the community tremendously.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. Colonel Pence, I know Fort Bragg's a little different, but y'all have a great relationship with the community around you, so.
No, yeah, the question brings to mind things that we've done in the past and things we have planned for the futures and things that we do every week. In the past few months, we were able to come together for the Fort Bragg's renaming, and that was a really great experience for us to engage with the community and hear from people's reflections on the renaming commission. In the future, we're excited. The one thing that's in progress now that we may see in the near future is the new MacArthur Road Sports Complex with partnership with Fayetteville. And then every week, what many people may not realize is our mutual aid agreements with our police and fire are executed, where either our firefighters are going to incidents in Cumberland County, Fayetteville, Hope Mills, or Spring Lake, or the firefighters are coming on post to assist with an incident on post. So that collaboration happens every single week.
Thank you, Colonel Pence. Mayor Warner?
I can think of a couple of things, but I think most importantly, we established a committee in Hope Mills that was our Tier 1 committee, and we did this trying to identify those needs for our most vulnerable populations, which would naturally be our youth, our veterans, our senior citizens, and our disabled population. And through that, we have had several great meetings. It's brought together Cumberland County, the commissioners. It's brought together child advocacy, partnership with children. We have health department, just a whole bunch of people that meet once a month. But what we've come from that is one of the things that was developed was the FTCC, Cumberland County Schools, Southview High School, and Hope Mills partnership to try to identify and help our community that needs jobs. So that was a biggie there. We also have one with the YMCA, Cumberland County Schools, Cumberland County, and Hope Mills, looking at ways that we can develop a center that could benefit, and tying in Fort Bragg too to this, a center in Hope Mills that would benefit our veterans, our seniors, our youth. And the reason why we need that is we know that we can't have an aquatic center like the plan is for all of Cumberland County, but we know that in Hope Mills, our population deserves something more. So we see that on the horizon. We've even got some developers willing to work with us. So this collaboration, this piece of together we can and what we can do to move forward, we see it happening in Hope Mills, and we see it because of the community spirit Cumberland County-wide.
Thank you, Mayor Warner. Mayor Dobbins?
I said ditto to the things that were listed by my coworkers, friends and brothers in community management. But I would also like to add employment communities, transportation assistance, health care, and public safety. And I can also say that if we can't find it in Spring Lake, it's here in Fayetteville and Fort Bragg. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Dobbins. I think we've got time for one more question. So to close out, we talked about a lot of the positives, but this time we'll look at what challenge that you feel will be the biggest that's affecting the county or your city or town or Fort Bragg. So Commissioner Adams.
Thank you. You know, I think that this pandemic, it's going to continue to challenge each and every one of us as this variant changes. It changes just as we think we're about to come out of this pandemic. We hear about a new variant coming in. But I think that we're up for the challenge for that. I think with the military and all of these towns and the mayors, even the other small, the mayors from the small towns. But I will tell you that I believe that one thing that happened is everybody talked about the money that came down from the state government, and it was truly transformational for this community. But we also have to realize that there is a great divide in the state of North Carolina. The divide is the I-40 and the I-85 corridor. And so for the rest of the state, we've got to be able to come together as a region in the southeast region dealing with Sampson, Harnett, Robeson County for us to be able to know that we've got to be able to get these companies and economic development going for more than just that I-85 and I-40 corridor. I think the mayor of Mayor Colvin and I've talked about it. One of the things that we have to realize is that if you look at the northern part of Cumberland County, you can get to Raleigh and Amazon and Gardner faster than they can from Durham. So we have to maximize what we have in terms of that. But the biggest thing is, I believe one of the other biggest things is not having countywide water and sewer. We've got to move in that direction. We've got to do it out in Spring Lake. We've got to do it up in the northern part because that's what business is going to come for, and that's what 95 does. And once we tackle that, I believe you'll see that this community will change. It is poised for greatness. I tell everybody, Fayetteville and Cumberland County is the gateway to southeastern North Carolina. And we have to take that tag and we have to be able to embellish it and grab upon it and say that we're going to control this part of the state. And everything is going to come through Cumberland County, Hope Mills, and the city of Fayetteville for this part of North Carolina. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Adams. Mayor Colvin, one of the biggest challenges facing the city of Fayetteville?
Great question. I'll piggyback a little bit off of Commissioner Adams. I think one of the biggest challenges that I see we're facing is to get our workforce prepared and retrained. I mean, we can wave our flag that this is the greatest place for companies to be, but they're looking for workers. As a small business owner, I understand the importance and the difficulty you're having to find qualified people to do the work once the company decides to come. And I think COVID has exposed and shown us that the way companies operate and the way we have lived is changing. And we have to have a workforce that is adaptable and trained to being able to do remote working tasks, to be technically savvy, because some of our traditional means of occupations are going away, and we have to make sure that we're prepared for that. And so I would see that as a challenge and an opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor Cole. Colonel Pence, what challenges is Fort Bragg facing?
I would agree with Mayor Colvin, and the nationwide hiring challenges is also affecting our installations. As I mentioned, we have 50,351 active duty service members on Fort Bragg. Now, in the last 20 years, that's been deceiving because at any year, 1/3 of that population had been deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan. So right now we have more soldiers at Fort Bragg stationary than ever in the last 20 years. Fort Bragg, as you know, with Bragg has expanded since then too. And we have less AFES employees, less MWR employees, less support staff employees than ever before also. So we have a perfect storm of the most demand for services and the least personnel to provide those services than ever in the last 20 years. So we're looking at people, of course, we're looking for people to come to Fort Bragg to work, but we're also looking at some dynamic ways of solving it, maybe getting people to get those services maybe in the community, through partnerships with, we're in the Fast Transit Center right now. Maybe we can look at the fast buses getting soldiers off post to get some of those services, because it's important for us, just like with the Army installation strategy, for quality of life and making sure that the Army experience is a good one that attracts and retains the best talent in the nation. So, thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Pence. Any way that our community businesses can provide services to y'all, we'd be happy to do it. Mayor Warner?
I see our major challenge right now is, and when a small town like Hope Mills grows as rapidly as we're growing, we have to make good decisions and we have to have a vision for the future. And so convincing our citizens that all this money that's coming in, that we've got to have a plan for it. Our capital improvement plan is just about covered with what was brought to us from the state. So now we've got to start planning for more, which right now we're looking at a great big chunk that's going to cost for our roads. And traffic is I guess the main concern in Hope Mills. Anybody that comes to Hope Mills complains about traffic. Well, you can imagine what someone that lives there complains about. So we have to take focus on planning for the future and getting everyone's buy-in, and keep in mind that we have grown. Just while I've been mayor, there's probably more than 4,000 people that have come on board in Hope Mills. So as we grow, we've got to target everyone in Hope Mills, just not that small cluster that probably would like us to spend the money their way. So planning, strategically planning, and looking at best ways so that 10 years from now, there's something there, that we've not spent money on something that you don't see 10 years from now.
Thank you, Mayor Warner. And Mayor Dobbins, as you said earlier, you're rotating off, so we'll give you the last answer to our question today about what the big challenges is facing Spring Lake, other than you leaving.
Oh, I'm going to still be in Spring Lake. You mean leaving office?
Leaving office, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And I know you'll still be involved.
Thank you for that correction. I would say that the one thing that has kept us from getting a leg up in terms of economic development was the absence or the lack of a natural gas pipeline. And once we get that, I think that would be an attractive feature for large-scale development, natural gas pipeline. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I want to reiterate again a special thanks to all of our leaders who took a chance to took the time to be with us today. It's so important to hear what goes on in the community. As I said earlier, I was born and raised here and work here in the business community, and I'm so excited about all of the things that y'all have brought forward for us today and where our community is going and how we're going to grow in the future, for me personally and for what we can do for the businesses in this community. Thanks to Sherry and the whole team at the Chamber for putting all of this together. And a special thanks again, we want to make sure that we talk about our partners who have helped us to put this on today, the pivotal partners of Caldwell Banker Advantage and Cape Fear Valley Health System, our gold sponsors Campbell University, Fayetteville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and H&H Homes, our silver sponsor Piedmont Natural Gas. A special thanks to the Fayetteville City Communications team for everything they've done to put together today's broadcast and make sure that we were able to get it out to y'all. And our media partners, Array Publishing and Marketing, Beasley Media Group, Cumulus Broadcasting, the Greater Fayetteville Business Journal, the Fayetteville Observer, the Fayetteville Press, and Up and Coming. Just as a reminder, if you didn't catch the whole program or you wanted to watch it again, it will be rebroadcast on Faye TV Friday, December 3rd at 10:30 a.m. and at 7 p.m., Saturday, December 4th at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., and Sunday, December 5th at 7 p.m. It could also be accessed by visiting the city's YouTube and the Chamber's Facebook account. Thank you again to everyone who joined us today. Thank you to our speakers for all that they've contributed to the community. I hope everyone is thankful during this time of thanks and holiday season, and I hope everybody has a great holiday.